Let's start. I'm here with Tommy Hayden, 11-4 lightweight MMA fighter. It's out of Bangkok at the moment. There we go. I can see him now. He's got the lighting good. You can't see anything, but I can see him brilliant.
Yeah, it works out all right for me, I guess.
Wicked, man. So how's it going, Tommy? How's life now?
Life is pretty excellent, to be honest with you. I mean, considering everything that's going on in the world, like Bangkok's an okay place to be.
Uh-huh. What's the restrictions like for you now? I've seen it's tightened up there again, hasn't it?
Well, I mean, yeah, it's tightened up. Like the bars and the clubs aren't open, but to be honest with you, I don't really get too crazy right now. I've got some other projects I'm working on, so that takes most of my time.
Uh-huh.
So yeah, mostly working on escaping my 9 to 5 and returning to fighting.
Okay, so the natural question there is, what's the projects you're working on? Can you tell us about those, or are they secret at the minute?
No, not secret.
Uh-huh.
Well, I'm basically starting my own team again and creating my own gym. So
Uh-huh.
starting the wild card brand up again and kind of working on expanding it. I have one gym here that I own right now with
Yeah.
a Thai partner of mine, and we're getting ready to expand to have a second gym, and I will be the main trainer there.
Okay, wicked. Where's that in Bangkok?
Yeah, in Bangkok. And right now we're still kind of looking for locations, but because of the whole pandemic thing going on in the world, like it's actually all right when it comes to finding rental properties and things like that. So just
Mhm.
kind of shopping around right now, looking for the right place.
Got you. Cool. So where's your gym now? It,
It Tom it's in a university north of Bangkok,
uh-huh.
so it's about an hour out of the city.
It was, were you going to say Thammasat? Is it Thammasat University? Do
Yeah,
you,
it's Thomas.
uh-huh. I think, was it? Yeah, I think that's where I had my two fights there. I think it was where Dana Bloom and some other people were doing some stuff there, and that was my only foray into MMA fighting.
Yeah.
So that, because that's quite a way out of town, isn't it, to get to that? So is it just Thai people that come to your gym, or do you get many foreigners there?
No, it's primarily Thai students, to be honest with you,
Hmm.
which it works out really well. It's, you know, it's a university gym, so it's a bunch
Yep.
of uni students just up staying in shape. It's really nice.
Uh-huh. Oh, wicked.
And
So do
yeah.
you work there as well?
Well, I go up when I can,
Uh-huh.
and I mostly go and essentially teach seminars there.
Hmm.
So it's quite nice. And I try and get up there once every couple weeks if I can.
Hmm. So
Depends on the schedule, but yeah.
have you got anyone coming through there that you should look out for? Or are they just more just going to keep fit and
Yeah, that's my gym for kids to keep fit at.
Mhm.
Now, what I'm starting, and actually um I've been training teenagers, and that's kind of like the idea behind this inception in Bangkok is I want to focus mainly on teenagers,
Mhm.
um, because like my background is wrestling, and
Yep.
you know I was a wrestler, and the team atmosphere was great, and it's one of my favorite things when I think back about high school. It's like one of the most fun memories. So I want to bring that here to Bangkok, and
Uh-huh.
there's nobody really doing that and focusing on that. So I'm kind of trying to work on providing that environment for high school kids. And yeah,
Yeah, I seen you did a camp, didn't you, quite recently? So
yeah.
what was that about? How did that what did that look like? If someone wanted to go on that, what would they get? What would you know?
Well, that camp. So a friend of mine, um, Nate, Nat, do you know Nathan Try, the
No,
yoga teacher?
no, no.
No, all right. Yeah, he's kind of like, he skirts the MMA community here, and
Hmm.
he's friends with like a lot of us, like when we were back at Bangkok Fight Lab and stuff, and he's helped like Javier Trujillo and stuff like that
Yeah.
out, myself as well, when it comes to like learning yoga. He actually does like yoga specifically for men, so it's quite nice, and he does works on a lot of breathing techniques and everything, so really good for fighters. But he actually approached me to join him on a retreat that he hosts, which is
Okay.
called Digital Detox.
Uh-huh.
And basically, they pull everybody's phones away from them, take the TVs out of the rooms and everything. And because I'm a teacher, so my 9 to 5 job, right, is I work in an international school. I'm a fully
Hmm.
qualified teacher. I do all that stuff. That's what I do. And because of that, he wanted to see if we could kind of change the demographics from adults to teenagers. And so he pulled me into the camp. And now like the pilot, I guess, camp was digital detox for teens. And now we've done a second camp, and it was a quick winter retreat. And that was the Young Warriors retreat. So that's kind of what we've labeled it now. And it's
Yep.
essentially digital detox plus, we do the yoga, we do the meditation, breath work, we do strength and conditioning, and then myself, I teach the martial arts aspect of it.
Uh-huh. Wicked. How many people did you have on that? I see there was quite a few there, wasn't there?
Well, the first one we had 10, the second one we had 12. So
Hmm.
we went from the pilot episode growing the second one by 20%. So we're
Uh-huh.
looking forward to this coming summer. See what we can do.
They're good numbers to work with people as well, aren't they? 10, 12 people. I know you'd probably like more, but to get that, to get the process going and everything, they're really good numbers, like, especially for the first one as well. Like.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And sorry, give me 1 second.
No
My
problem. I'll take a
I
swig
should
of
have done
coffee.
this. Uh-oh. What have I done here? I've messed with the lights. But yeah, 10-12 has been great to work with
Mhm.
because essentially we really get a chance to know the kids, and plus like myself being the teacher and stuff like that, I really do like to sit down with the kids and talk with them, and you know just see why they're there and what they're interested in learning and getting out of camp.
Mhm.
And it's something we try and focus on. So it's turning into a really nice project to work on.
Yeah, that's something I really like, that sort of stuff. Like I teach as well, and most of what I teach isn't the lesson, if you get what I mean. I like to teach all the ancillary things that go around it. Like when I'm teaching and talking about when you get a job and when this happens and this in life and things, instead of just teaching them English, which is, or maths or science or whatever I'm teaching. I enjoy those things, and that must be really good fun. Do you get a lot out of that?
Oh yeah, I mean it's great. Just in general, like I the reason I moved out here was to be a teacher,
Hmm.
and I wanted to change something from the States. And when I got out here, I really fell in love with it. And I think it kind of comes back from my like so many years of coaching and teaching martial arts in general. It's like I worked with like kids classes for a long time. I worked with teen classes. Like I helped run high school boxing teams and stuff like that
Hmm.
back in the States. So like any sort of instruction and and teaching people, it kind of fits in my wheelhouse. But then to bring the martial arts aspect into it, oh man, it is so good. It's so rewarding. It's so much
Hmm.
fun.
Yeah, it's not like working then. When I've done things like that, I've done it as we used to have like a thing on a Friday at a school in China, and I used to teach them jujitsu. Not that I'm that I'm any good, but I knew a lot more than they did. So I'd teach them jujitsu on a Friday for an hour. So you know what I mean. Doing that wasn't like work for me. That was just fun, and it was nice watching them learn, watching that. Just I don't know. I get loads of energy off kids. I don't know about you, when I first started teaching, it was like, oh man, I don't know if I can do that with kids. And then because I used to do a lot of training with adults, and then I just I'd go into class tired and come out like buzzing because I feed off their energy, because half of the time they're having loads of good fun. And I don't know about the Thai kids that you teach. I found Thai kids more fun loving than, especially the ones in China that I've taught.
Well, like the kids, so when I first started here, I was teaching at like a super Thai school, very low ability English, and it was more just to get my feet wet and see what was going on out here. And when I did that, it was all games all the time. That's what we did. Now, like I work at an international school, and so like it's kids are, mostly fluent, and we've got to do a lot more lessons than anything. But like, for instance, today we started this extracurricular program with them that I'm kind of taking the reins on, just because I'm a nerd and I like to make games. So I've got these kids. Do you know what LARPing is?
No.
Live action role playing.
Okay.
So like, think of, World of Warcraft. Think of that, but like doing it in real life. Well,
okay.
So we had to come up with these like these activities for these kids over the course of the second term, to where like the last hour of school, this is what they're doing. And so like because I just took it from everybody, all my partners. I'm like, look guys, I'm a nerd, I'll just do all of it, so let me just make it. So like today was their first class with it, and they're all super excited because they get to dress up and run around and like make their own characters and stuff like that. So that aspect of it, I absolutely love it.
Yeah, I remember playing Quidditch with my students once, and like in the art class, I got them to make the brooms and everything. So it was just chaos when we were playing. Chaos. It was great fun. Like they loved it, but it was just chaos. It didn't go exactly to plan, but they had a great time. They run around loads. They got loads of exercise in, so it worked. I was laughing my head off all the way through. So what's it based on? Yeah, what's it based on, the thing that you're doing?
Well, okay, so like essentially it's based on World of Warcraft. That's where I got my inspiration from, because I spent like 10 years of my life playing that game, just being a nerd. Like I went through uni playing that game, but I didn't skip parties to play the game. I just played the game when I wanted to. But yeah, I'm not that bad. But because I was also fighting and going through my professional career and uni at the same time. So there were plenty of times like getting ready for fights, I couldn't go out to parties. So I sat on my computer and ran around in a digital world. So like what I decided to do was pull kind of some of that out. And like, for instance, with a character creation, I was like, you can be a human, that's fine. You can also be an elf or an orc, or what's called a pandaren, which is basically a panda human, or like a worgen, which is a nice way to say werewolf. And so like the kids got all excited about that. They're allowed to like pick from 5 different classes: warrior, healer, mage, ranger, and rogue, just because I'm probably speaking gibberish right now, but it all makes sense to me.
I'm sort of following you. I was never into World of Warcraft. So what was I doing in university? So I played games.
Cool, probably.
No, fucking hell, I was never cool. I was never the cool kid. I was some skinny kid when I was in university. Like I looked like a golf club. So what was I? After parties, I'd play games. Like when I'd be like no sleep for about 3 days because it was at that time of like when all the rave scene was kicking off when I was at university. So it's like I'd have no sleep. Then I'd be like 3 days in my room playing at Mario Kart, you know, on my own, the door locked in the dark. So yeah, I never really got into that one. So, but I quite like some of the old adventure games, but they were the old ones in the past. So how did it go? Did it work well?
Well, I mean, yeah, the kids are just getting into it because we just started. So like they're super excited, and like today they're just making characters, and then like tomorrow we're gonna draw maps and stuff like that. So they'll actually draw their world that they will play in, and then yeah. And I'm essentially mixing the World of Warcraft theme with way nerdier things. So they're yeah, like I'm gonna write out storylines, and they get to each team will get to pick their own story that they want to go through, and then we're gonna adapt that to their map. Yeah. I've also got to teach all the other teachers how to do this as well.
At what point do you regret going, it's all right, I've got this, you relax?
You know, like, so like I said in the very beginning, like I'm looking to quit. I really, and it's not the kids. I love the kids. That is my favorite part about being a teacher. It's all the admin stuff, and like I had to, so I don't, because I'm interested in doing this, there is no quit in me. Once I'm interested in something, there's no quit. So like, yeah, I spent, did I bring it home? I didn't bring it home with me. I spent multiple hours today because I'm horrible at art. I'm just bad. But I drew my own character sheet, so they had an idea of what to go on, and so like I didn't mind doing that stuff, but you know, as long as it's for the kids and they're enjoying it and admin leaves me alone, I'm happy. It's as soon as the admin comes in that I'm just like
Yeah, being in the classroom is the best for me. I really enjoy it. I teach online at the moment, and it's just nowhere near the same. I love that interaction. You know what I mean? That just messing about, winding people up, and joking with people, and just having fun and making and hearing them laugh and things is great. But I remember working at a school in Phuket. We'd spend probably about 30% of the time, maybe 40%, either testing or preparing for tests. And it was like, they could be learning, you know what I mean? Instead of just testing, because we had these two teachers who'd got a managerial position. So they had to make themselves feel like that they were doing something to show the world, if you know what I mean. So it was like, we'll just keep putting these tests in. I was just like, I left there after a few months. I couldn't do it like that. It doesn't fit me. That you sound a bit similar to me when it's like, yeah, let's do that. You know, I suppose when you had that first job, did it feel like a real job? I don't know about you. When I first went to Thailand, and I was teaching in a school with an English program in it, and for the first 6 years, it still felt like I was on holiday. You know, it didn't feel like a real job. I was having fun all the time, and it was great.
Yeah, for the most part, the first job I had, it didn't feel like a job. And like, I really enjoyed it actually. And to be honest with you, the biggest reason I left is because like, I knew I could make more money and advance my career further. So like, I decided to come down to Bangkok. And like, when I first came here, I wasn't even thinking about fighting. I was done with the MMA world. I was like, I was done with all of it. I was like, I'm out. I'm going to travel around the world, be a teacher. It's going to be cool. I'll have adventures. I came to Bangkok, and like I actually got a job near Thammasat, Rangsit. And one day I'm just like out walking around the campus, and I see this gym that on the sign outside it said MMA, and I was like, what's this? So I walked in, and then like I met my business partner that day, and like he asked me, he's like, do you have any experience? It's like, a little bit. He goes, okay, well, let's roll. And so then I proceeded to twist him up into a knot. And he's like, hell, okay, you got to come with me. Took me to another gym. And then
Mhm.
I like became the coach there. And then now I'm still here in Bangkok and I'm not planning on leaving. So,
How long you been there for?
uh, about almost 6 years, actually.
Hmm.
I'm coming up on my 6 year anniversary.
Wow.
So yeah,
It,
it's
it, it,
nice.
it gets you. I went over, oh, however many years ago now, I can't remember. But I went over and it was like, I went to do a course there, a TEFL course. And my friend was there. So I went to Thailand to do the TEFL course. And I was planning to go to Africa after to do some volunteer work, teaching. I never left. You know what I mean? It
I
was like,
understand.
for me, like the weather's great. I don't know where exactly you come from in the States. Like, I don't know if it's cold or not, but like, I'm from the UK, and the weather's crap most of the time, isn't it? So the weather's great with shorts and t-shirt all the time. The food's amazing, beautiful women, beautiful beaches. It's like, wow, this is great. I'm staying.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like this is an excellent home base. Like, to be honest with you, like the only other place I've really wanted to go is like South America besides this. Like maybe like Peru or Colombia, something like that. Like I
I fell in
talked to
love here.
them. Yeah.
Uh,
How has your experience been there? So like when you how long have you been there? Like,
okay, so it's been here twice now in the last 12, just over 12 months. Because I started in Houston cycling. If anyone's watching this, everyone's heard this a million times. Started in Houston, cycled to Mexico, then flew to Bogota. I spent 6 months cycling around Colombia, went down through Ecuador to Peru, got stuck in Peru for the quarantine. Couldn't get back to China, couldn't get to Thailand. So then I went to Kenya for a bit and then came back to Colombia. So I've been here for 3 months now. I love it. The people are amazing. The weather's great. Food's not so good, but you know what I mean. And it's cheap cost of living. You know what I mean. So it's and I can train here as well. It's not the same training as back in Thailand, but I can still train. It's pretty cool.
so so when you're over there, like what so food great, weather well, food okay, weather
Yeah.
great. I love me like some South American food, but that's just
Mhm.
me. But what's lockdown like going, like what's things on your side of the world right now? How's it going?
I'm not sure what the lockdown thing is at the moment. I'm not sure if there's a curfew at midnight and you've got to wear a mask. I think that's all at the moment. Sometimes they
Okay.
have a thing where if your passport, my passport, the N number is uneven, then I can only go to certain supermarkets on a day that's an uneven number. But I've got my old passport's an even number and my new passport's an uneven number. So I just show them that any number, it doesn't matter.
All right, fair.
So for
So
me, it's pretty similar. The cost of living's good. People are super friendly here, and yeah, it's really easy to live. In an ideal world, I've got a place in Pattaya. I want a place here and do 6 months in both when I retire.
oh,
That's my
nice.
ideal world for me. Whether that happens or
That
not, I don't know.
Yeah, it makes sense. I can see that.
That's
So
cool.
wait, tu habla español?
No, I'm trying to learn at the moment, but being 50, it's pretty slow. I'm being hit in the head so many times, like with different things, and coming off motorbikes and giving myself brain damage.
Yeah, I
I,
understand.
it doesn't go in fast anymore. Like, I'm a really bad student. It's bad. You're a teacher and like, no, I'm rubbish. Like,
Well, I was like the student the teachers hated myself. Like I was always up out of my seat. I was that kid like sit down. I'm like, okay, teacher, turn their back. I'm gone. Yeah, that was me. I've never been a good student, but I love being a teacher. It's weird.
yeah, yeah, same here. I bet you they remembered your name first because, like, I don't know about you, I'm shit at remembering their names. So I remember the naughty ones first, then the good ones, and then slowly I remember
Yep.
the other ones. Like, but yeah, it takes me a long time, especially with
Yep.
with like Chinese kids. I don't even try with their names. So it's a bit ignorant of me, but I have like about 400 students at the moment, so I don't try.
Oh, wow. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
so
a lot of students.
yeah. So and they're like, "Do you remember me?" No.
That's hard. That's really difficult.
So what's the best thing about Thailand for you then? Because for me, it's fun.
Opportunity.
Uh-huh.
Opportunity. Because, like, now I think this is purely because I live in Bangkok and the economy here just is different than
Hmm.
other places in Thailand. But the fact that, like, the whole reason that I'm like, okay, I'm gonna do the wild card thing and just go my own way and do it
Hmm.
is because I can go, like, when I look at like the Facebook metrics and stuff like that, because like now I'm getting into really setting up a business and really thinking about things. So I'm looking at the metrics and I'm looking at the numbers and I'm like, shit, I put a 5 kilometer radius almost anywhere in Bangkok and I'm
Hmm.
connected to a million people
Yep.
like that. So it's just like, okay, what kind of percent do I need to pull in order to make my bread to where I can live?
Mm.
And like even now, this is wild, right? So like I moved to this new condo,
Yeah.
lockdown happens, and one day and I well, I moved to the new condo post lockdown, the first lockdown.
Hmm.
Then we went through everything and I started my program and I've been training this one kid and I'll get into him in a minute because he's actually got a fight on Saturday.
Okay.
But
Wicked.
yeah, I'm excited for that. But I've been training this kid and like growing, and then I decided to take my program and go ahead and make it public. And then I got a couple other kids, and I started paying schools to where I could go in and I could pay 100 baht per person
Hmm.
to uh, to train the kids. And the second lockdown happens, and I'm like, crap, I can't train my boys. Where can I go? So I walked into the parking garage of my condo and I'm like, I'll go to the top floor and see what's up there and
Hmm.
if there's any cars, because maybe I can just train them there. I go up to the top floor, it's open space, green space, and there's trees and stuff around. I'm like, no shit. So so turns out I can live in my condo and like my girlfriend, right? She runs her beauty salon out of our room because I have a
Hmm.
2 bedroom. So
Yep.
our second bedroom, that's her beauty salon.
Great.
I can live in my condo. I just ordered 45,000 baht worth of Dollar mats.
Uh-huh.
So I can literally take those down, roll them out in this space, have 18 square meters of mats to where I can train these people. So I've now got my girl running her studio. Me, I'm going to have a space where I'm running my gym and I'm paying 18K for everything.
Wicked.
Yeah. Like, so when I'm shopping
Yeah,
or
that's cheap.
yeah, it's not bad at all. So like when I'm shopping around for spots right
Hmm.
now to open a gym, I'm looking for very specific spots.
Yeah.
And I'm literally like, I had one that I liked that I was going to go for, but then the landlord was being kind of weird about giving me like some of the structural papers that I just needed to see for engineering purposes so
Hmm.
that I knew what I could do with everything because
Yep.
I wasn't taking him at his word. And then they also wrote a contract that I didn't like and they weren't willing to change it. So I was like, all right, see you guys. But yeah, it's right now it's a buyer's market and that's what I really enjoy.
Yeah,
And if I don't find anything, I'm good. I'm
that
still
that
good.
that's a switch that a lot of Thais will struggle flipping over to, that it's a buyer's market. Especially when they see you walking in.
Yes.
It's like, yeah, okay, let's put the price up. Or if they see you making money, they'll just skyrocket the price of the gym. It's a general rule of thumb, isn't it? Not an absolute thing. You know what I mean? So
It's not an absolute,
no.
but yeah, there's enough stories
Hmm.
from everybody I've talked to. I'm not saying that there haven't been some like fairy tales. I just haven't heard any of those stories yet.
Yeah, I've spoke to a lot of people who've opened businesses up in Thailand at various different degrees and things. You know, I know a lot of people have got successful ones like friends in Pattaya who've got running gyms over there, and they're doing really well. You know what I mean? I've got a mate in Jan Sabri running the gym, and he seems to be doing all right out there as well. So it's you know, it's open there, isn't it?
Yeah, and that's where like a big part of it for me is like my Thai partner. He's super important, and like I trust him more than anybody else I trust in Thailand.
Yeah.
Just because like he's the one that found me and brought me back. Like I was done. I was done. And then like, yeah, he brought me back into everything. He's always been extremely honest. And like, yeah, like I consider him my brother, like for real. So
Wicked.
he's the guy right now.
It's good when you meet someone like that you can trust, isn't it? You know what I mean? Especially if you're going into business, because there's a couple of things for business that I'm interested in doing at the moment, and I'm not someone who's great at business, so I'd need someone with me. And finding someone I can trust is the first step for that, really, isn't it? You know what I mean? It's a risky thing, isn't it? You know, when you're going into business like that, especially when you've got your name on it as well, which makes a difference. So you were saying that you were done with fighting. How did that? What happened there? Like, was it losses or was it?
No. So after the UFC dropped me, I spent 2 years under the same manager who got me my fights, but he kind of offloaded me to like a guy beneath him. And 2 years of being in a constant fight camp of fights constantly falling through.
Got you.
And then, so finally I left them and like I got my own fight, signed up for my own fight. And this was the dumbest loss ever. My orbital got broke in the fight.
Yeah.
The guy hit me twice in the fight. I spent the whole entire fight beating the crap out of this guy. And he hit me twice. And it was like, I think the beginning of the third round, he hit me, maybe a second. I can't remember, but he throws this overhand bomb and he cracks me. And like, when I took it, and like, as soon as I looked up, like, you know, when you get hit hard, you see double for a second, but you can shake it out and your vision comes back to normal. It's a bit wobbly, but it comes back. Well, this, like, I shook and it was still like double. Like like there would be like two of you, like one down here and one of you up here. And like, so my world just went from like, okay, to like, what the fuck? You know? So when that happened, I had to get surgery to fix it. And I have nice titanium holding my eyeball up. It's great.
Oh, it's really badly broken. Yeah.
Yeah, it was broke. Yeah. So like, then my dad was like, all right, son, get a job. And I was like, ah. So I worked for this place called Hillrom. And like, at that point I was done. And Hillrom, #1 hospital bed manufacturer in the world, I guess. And I working there, I would talk to people, and I was doing QA, and we were regulated by the FDA. And I had to write all the reports. So when somebody messed up making a bed, I had to write the reports. So whenever they saw me coming, they were like, "Ah, screw this guy." And they were a bunch of like rough individuals. So they would speak to me in rough ways, which I didn't mind actually too much. But then also the management, they were supposed to be like the white collar people, but the way that they spoke to myself and other people, they just like, it really rubbed me the wrong way, because I'm sitting there with a pen and a pad, listening to these people talk down to me, and I'm like, I could fucking kill you. Like, if I wanted to murder you right now, there's nothing you could do about it. Like zero you could do about it. And so like, and coming straight out of like the UFC, the fight world, you know, like you're living on top and you're going places and people are like, hey, you're that guy. And you're like, yeah, I'm that guy. What's up? Take a picture. Cool. And like bartenders like, dude, you were fighting. Yeah, let me get you a couple drinks, man. Thanks for coming in. But like going from that to like some dickhead in an office just talking down to you. I'm just like, so I couldn't handle it. I just, there's something inside me that's like, no. So that I was done with America. I was done with fighting. I was just ready to go on, be like Adventure Time Tommy, go explore the world, teach in Thailand for maybe 1 year, maybe 2. Then I wanted to go to Japan for 1 or 2 years. Then I wanted to go to South America and travel around South America and like just experience life. And that was the idea. And then walked in the gym, met Ja, boom, done. So here I am. But like, I was enjoying my job being a teacher and I didn't want to leave it really. And then one day when I first so I started working in a new school and I'm in a staff meeting, and I'm not going to go into the full detail of it, but we have to mark multiple choice questions in red ink because that is a definite wrong answer. But for long form writing, sentences or paragraphs or stories or whatever, we have to write in purple ink because we're giving suggestions. And I just simply was like, hey, can I just do all my corrections in purple ink? That way no one is offended and I don't mess up. And the guy looked at me and he's like, Tommy, let me explain this to you again. And I was just like, I instantly flashed back to like, fuck you, I can kill you. So as soon as that happened, I was like, no, I'm out. I'm done. Screw you guys. I'm out. Because I felt that same way in my heart that I felt when I was like making a shitload more money working for a company. Like, I mean, I was making really good money working for a company and I left it. I did not come here to feel like that again. Not even in the slightest way. You know what I mean? Like that's
I hate it. Those small things make a difference because it's like, are you just saying this just to make yourself look important, or is it because just purple, red? I don't like marking in red. I find it quite a negative color. But if I mark in red, I mark in red. I don't really care. But I used to mark in green, and it but. I don't think it. I think it's just this perception that we have about red. But yeah, just I can't see the point. What difference it makes? You know what I mean? So.
Well, that was the thing. So like, in me, I don't care what color I mark in. I really don't care. If you tell me to mark in a rainbow colored pen, cool. I will do that. Don't care. You pay me. I'm fine. But I was like, yo, can I just do everything in purple? No offense taken. Nobody's, because the whole red thing, right? You said you find it kind of a negative color. Well, this is like a Singaporean school that I work at. So they're they're super Chinese about things. And like, they're like, oh, parents in this culture find it bad. And I'm like, okay, cool. So let me just do everything in purple. I don't care, man. Like whatever color. And then he just like took the opportunity to like make me never want to speak in a meeting again. Let me just put it that way. And I was like, all right. I came and looked at myself in the mirror that day. Like I got home and I was looking in the mirror and I was just like, no, fuck this. I'm done.
Yeah, I have the opposite problem in meetings. It's keeping me quiet in meetings is the problem. I open my mouth and everyone's like, oh, fucking hell, Russ, shut up. And just say things to wind people up. I can't remember, there was one in China where everyone just shut up. It was like, they were telling the kids, that was it. They were in a meeting and they're going on about, kids not listening and they should listen, blah, 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 and not having phones and all that. I look around the room and half of the teachers are on their phones and looking at laptops. So I'm like, what's the point in that if we can't even do it in this room? You know what I mean? Look around this room. No one's listening. Half the people are on the phone. Why are the students going to listen? It just went silent. And I sat there sort of sneaking in my mates like, fucking hell, Ross. I can't help it. I can't help myself. It's like Tourette's for me.
It's fun to wind people up, though. It really is.
It is, but it's true as well. Like if I'm sat on my phone in a meeting and not listening, that's just the same as a student doing it. So how can I then go into a classroom and expect a student to listen when I don't? I don't think God will remember this. There was this teacher, and this is at university. So, these are adults. She's taking all the phones off the students and putting them in these pocket things on this door. And I'm like, what are you doing? So they listen. It's like, so if they start looking out the window, you're going to fucking block all the windows up. You know what I mean? Just make your lesson interesting and they'll listen. That one, boom. Yep. That one went down well. I use it as a barometer, though, me, to see how good my lesson is. If they're all on the phone, my lesson's shit. And that's the way I look at it. Because they're university students, they don't need to listen. If they don't listen, I'll fail them. I don't really care. So that's the beauty of being at university. You can fail them, whereas all the other schools are taught out. You can't fail. I don't know about your school now. Is it a no-fail system there as well?
Yeah, and that is one thought for me, is like maybe I will go the uni route and just like be a lecturer, because I've got the master's already and I'm interested in doing my PhD. So like I may go that route. I don't know, but
yeah, I didn't think I'd like it, but I quite enjoy the university I work at in China. Like, it's pretty chilled out, and no office hours, and do what you want. So it's okay. I'm just teaching conversational English. I'm not doing anything super technical, so it's not so bad.
Yeah, that's not bad at all then.
Yeah. So, even grading's good, because you just do a speaking test with them, your grades are done. It's finished, so it's not, there's no loads of paperwork or anything like that. It really suits me.
Wow, that's nice. That's really nice.
Yeah, so as I'm typing it on my computer, on my laptop or something, and that's, I'm finished then. So I enjoy that. So I noticed you're doing stuff with Street Fight in Thailand.
Yeah, I did some stuff with Street Fight. I'm still friends with the guys and stuff like that. So yeah.
What's that all about?
I enjoy what they're doing. Well, grass movement, grassroots, grassroots fighting, I guess. Like they want to fight, and they do.
So what's like, people can find it on YouTube, can't they? What do they do? Just meet some random place and then people get together and fight, or because it's on the street, isn't it? Normally, it's not.
Well, it's a bit more organized than that, but like they give out locations just before the fights happen, and they were kind of cracked down on a little bit by the police because they got popular. But like there was one time I reffed it, and it was like actually twice that I've reffed it where it's been an underpass. Like one time was like city center, downtown Bangkok, like near like CM. So it was like around there. And then a second time that I reffed it, there was underpass. This is actually cool. It's out by the airport rail link.
Okay.
And there's like there's like a skate park under like an underpass, and they had the fights there, and that was super cool. But like a couple other times have been, you know, just in basketball courts and stuff, to where it's outdoor, and they just bring a bunch of puzzle mats, boom, 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 put them down, and like the fights are more organized. It's not like people show up and like, okay, who wants to fight, and hands go up. Like they're actually organized.
Yeah. So how do people sign up for that? Is it through gyms or just people getting in touch with them and saying, I want to fight and give me someone?
I imagine it's that. Like,
Uh-huh.
honestly, I've never been involved in the process
Oh, okay.
of making those fights happen. Like, I know the people who run the fights, but
Mm-hmm.
I've never asked them about it, because I've never been like, I've never wanted to sign anybody up for a street fight, because like for the most part it's like almost like just a Muay Thai fight happening,
Mm-hmm.
you know, like. But I shouldn't even say Muay Thai. It's more like kickboxing,
Got
because
you.
like they're not really smashing each other with elbows.
Mm.
Um, but yeah, like eh, I've never been inclined to try and sign anybody up. I'm happy to go watch. I'm happy to
Got you.
go ref. I'm okay to
Mm-hmm.
be part of that and part of it in that way. But yeah, I've never gone the route of asking how.
Cool. So was your, I'm trying to remember now, your last fight with Full Metal Dojo?
Yeah. Yeah, my last fight was Full Metal. I fought Jason Pone, and
Mm-hmm.
like, yep, that ended with soccer kicks to my head. but you know, I can only laugh about it. I lost. You know what sucks is I kind of lost my cool, and I let my emotions get the best of me,
Mm-hmm.
and that's never a good thing ever in a
What
fight game.
what was that for him talking shit in the build up or?
No, no, he just
Okay.
came out, and the first thing he threw was like a flying knee. He just tried to throw a flying knee at me. I was like,
Uh-huh.
all right, motherfucker. So I didn't plan to take him down. And then, like, that was not the plan. I wanted to stand up and fight with him,
Mm-hmm.
because despite the contrary to my MMA career, I actually have good stand up. And so I want to show that. I happen to I also happen to be really good off of my back, but nobody's ever put me on my back. So like,
Mm-hmm.
not even in Brazilian jiu-jitsu tournaments, no one's ever put me on my back. And I think I'm actually better off of my back than I probably am on top. Like when it
Mm-hmm.
comes to being more dangerous with submissions and things like that.
Got you.
But yeah, so I wanted to stand up and fight with him. I had a game plan worked out. He threw that flying knee at me, and it just barely missed me. I was like, oh, fuck you. I'm going to murder you now. So I grabbed him, threw him down, and then he's awesome job on his part, right? He grabs my
Mm-hmm.
head and he pushes it away. And me,
Yep.
being stubborn wrestler, I'm just like, nope, I'm going to finish this takedown. And he just like Heisman me and just like, no.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, straight arm just can't go through it. So I literally tried to take him down, and we got to the cage, and then I I hit the full circumference of the cage and then some, trying to take him down.
Uh,
Like, and I mean, he was on the ground, but I mean, just trying to finish it, like trying to
mm-hmm.
climb his body and finish it. So I completely gassed myself out,
Got you.
got up, I couldn't lift my arms, and he pushed the pace. I went for a shot. He threw me off and just started soccer kicking me in the head. And I was like, motherfuck. So I can only laugh about it. You know, like even when it happened, I was just like, can only laugh about it now. But that was an annoying. I want that one back. I really want to fight him again. Like,
Uh-huh. Is he still
yeah.
in Thailand?
Oh shit, I don't know, man.
Okay.
I'm not a
Uh-huh.
stalker or anything.
Yeah, I don't know whether you just knew, you know what I mean, by some coincidence, because it's quite small a community there, isn't it? You know what I mean? Like, I know quite a few people who within MMA less in Phuket, but especially in Bangkok and everything. And around Pattaya where I live, you get to know a lot of people, don't you, quite quickly.
Yeah, yeah. Well, like
So,
I I haven't caught I haven't done too much to keep up.
mhm.
Interestingly enough, John moved down to Phuket. So
Yeah.
since
So I've heard.
since the lockdown, yeah. So now he's thinking about doing like I think he's doing a bare knuckle, yeah, BKB,
Mm.
bare knuckle
Yeah.
boxing down there. I want to say in March.
Hmm.
So that'll be interesting. But then he plans to bring the fight circus back up here in April, which
Okay.
I'm the head ref of right now, which is entertaining.
So how did you find? Let's say from a fighting the UFC to fighting a Full Metal Dojo. What's the difference with that? What's the good bits of one and what's the good bits of the other, and what's the bad bits of one and bad bits of the other, and what.
Well, like the UFC, that's like intense,
Hmm.
like you walk out, and I mean, obviously not now. I think I would have enjoyed doing like fighting for the UFC like right now when nobody
Uh-huh.
can come watch. I think I would like that a lot more. Because then
Okay.
it's like you're sparring in practice practically. You're getting coached while you're sparring,
Yeah.
essentially. I mean, obviously they're still trying to murder each other, not taking that away from them, but you don't walk out to a roaring crowd of like, I don't know, 70,000 people, and
Hmm.
then yeah, and then like where they're also like they've got people backstage kind of like usher you out and push you, and they're trying to tell you what to do and do this, do that, don't do this, turn here, turn there, like, so it's very directed, like you're very directed through
Hmm.
everything. um Full Metal is like, it's like what I grew up in, like the
Yeah.
MMA scene I grew up in, fighting in clubs and stuff. Like it's a party and a fight.
Hmm.
And that's what
Got
I
you.
love. I love that. I like that atmosphere. It's just great to me.
Hmm. So
So like, yeah.
yeah, John always goes on about that, trying to make it a party, like, and it is. There is. I enjoy going. I've worked at a few of the shows in the past, like that, because I've been in Thailand for a while, and there is always a good buzz. Everyone's having a good laugh. It seems. I remember watching some of the promos you did, which were quite funny. For was it the fight with Will Choke when you were
Yeah.
doing things in a tuk tuk and everything? There's some quite good promos you've done for that, like, and yeah, it seems a good laugh. Fight Circus. What's your take on that? I love John, but I'm not sure where I stand on it. You know what I mean? I like the fact that people are earning some money. Is what I can say for definite. Um, when I seen Steve Banks fighting three people, it's like I'm not really sure about that. Like, if I'm honest, and I'd say that to John, it's not something I'd say behind his back. Like, you know. But I get it. Like, Steve needs to make money, and he's making money from that, and those kids are making money from it. So it's like, yeah, fair enough if they want to do it. But what do you think?
Well, people need to make money, and
Hmm.
people want to be like, and you want to be entertaining and you want to make money. Okay,
Yep.
well then there's Fight Circus. So
Hmm.
like bigger and crazier every time. I don't know how that will continue. Like I don't know the trajectory of it,
Hmm.
but I do know I get phone calls from John about all sorts of things. Like we talk on a regular basis to where like I hear his ideas before they happen, and I am privy to some of the behind the scenes things that are happening. And I enjoy the hell out of it personally. Like
Yep.
I really like it. I like being a part of it. But again, that's because like that's kind of my thing. Like I am wild card, and there's definitely a massively wild side to me. Like
Hmm.
being teacher Tommy, I don't get to express it as much, and especially like like coaching teenagers, stuff like that. I have a certain amount of me that is very reserved, but like getting to be part of that and getting to be around John where he is being the wild character and I can just be the referee doing referee things.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty all right with that. But I like it, and what he's trying to do and some of the fights he's trying to put on, a lot of what he's trying to do, I think, is a really excellent thing. And some people, and the reason I think it's a really excellent thing is because everybody needs to earn money. Everyone. When I say everyone, I mean everyone, right? We all need to earn a living. And he's trying to provide an outlet or a means. He's trying to provide a means to earn money for the people who are willing to do it. And some of the characters that he has tried to approach to get to come and fight for him, I think are just absolutely spectacular. On a personal level, I think it's spectacular. On a average fan level, the average fan might not find it so spectacular. They might find some ethical or moral issues with it. But again, I come from the standpoint of everybody needs to earn money, and they are getting that. This is the other good thing about Fight Circus. People are getting paid well to do it. So that's something that I like, because Full Metal, the purse strings were a little bit tighter, and that's because they didn't have they had sponsorship behind it, obviously, but they didn't have the sponsorship that they have now, who like the website that's sponsoring, or the web service, I should say, that is sponsoring the Fight Circus. So because he was able to crack into that market and bring the fighters along with him, like, dude, I think it's a great thing. I absolutely think it's a great thing, and I really enjoy being involved in it. And I think that for the average fan, you should remember in your head when you're watching Fight Circus that it is freak show fights. It's supposed to be wild. It's supposed to be crazy. The Panda Banks fight, right? 3v1. There's guys in there smiling and laughing while they're fighting. I was smiling. The Battle of the Bands, I'm sitting there cheesing half the time watching these band, these two rock bands that have quite clearly not trained at all, like at all. And they're like throwing punches and kicks at each other. And I'm just like, oh, like Panda could have taken on both rock bands and massacred them. I'm pretty positive about that. Right. Like, so like when it comes down to it, his edge is not providing quality. His edge is providing entertainment, and everybody should remember that the entertainers are being paid well. And because of the web service that hosts it live, they're also getting tipped.
Yeah.
So they're not just making money from John, they're making money from viewers around the world, which is cool.
Yeah, Nick Chapman was saying that in the first where it was 2-on-1, that dancer kid, he got a fortune from tips, so I believe. Because he was just straight in there, having a go. My take on it's pretty similar to you. It's a niche market, isn't it? And I'm a fight fan. I watch it. If I was in Bangkok, I'd want to be involved in it, and I'll be honest about that. So, but yeah, I'm not really sure. When I watch it a bit, and I'm not really sure, but I understand what John's trying to do, and I understand there's a market for that. People will want to see it. it's getting more publicity than Full Metal Dojo, because I've seen it on podcasts like Morning Combat and things. They've done a thing on it. You know what I mean? So it's getting more publicity than they normally get from just doing standard fights. You know, so if people can make money at this time when the world's like it is now, then that's a good thing, I think.
Yeah, it's an excellent thing. Everybody's hurting, and he found a way to break into the market, the same fight market, in a different way, you know.
Yeah.
And shoot, when Full Metal does come back, and like I I want to think about how to phrase this. When Full Metal comes back, and I'll say higher level competitive, more competitive fights and fighters are able to return,
Yep.
then I think that he will have brought enough of that spotlight onto Full Metal in general through Fight Circus, that hopefully everybody can get paid more and they can create higher quality fights. Because if you think about it, like me versus Will Chope, that's the highest level fight they've literally ever had. I want to even say in Thailand, that's the highest level MMA fight they've ever had in Thailand. You have two UFC veterans square off, and that was at the old Insanity Club on Soy 12.
Yeah, I spoke to Will about that fight. Like I'm friends with Will, like, and he was he was disappointed about that fight. You mauled him on that fight, didn't you?
I went into that one with a serious game plan. Like I was doing 3-a-days training for that guy, because I was motivated beyond all motivation, because I was like, all right, fine, another UFC vet, I'm gonna murder this guy. Like, because he was done a little bit dirty by the UFC, as was I. Like the way like our careers went in the UFC, like I got dropped. I fought my first fight in the UFC. I took on a week's notice, and I fought a weight class up. So my manager was like, no matter what, you have 2 fights guaranteed. Doesn't matter about this one. Go have fun. If you win, cool. If you lose, doesn't matter. You have 2 guaranteed fights.
Got you.
And I fought Fabricio Camoys, almost knocked him out twice. And then he ended up sucker sweeping me because I was an idiot. I was so bad at jiu-jitsu, then I was a blue belt, right? So like, just like the amount of jiu-jitsu I have now, if I could take that back and be a brown belt. Oh, COVID, by the way, I'm still a brown belt, and I hate COVID for that. So
God, sorry, finish that, and I'll ask that question. Go on.
But yeah, so like, then I fought Dennis Bermudez, almost knocked him out with a knee, and ended up getting guillotined like a. My jiu-jitsu was so bad. UFC God. So I was just a horrible wrestler, you know. So like, there's all the mistakes, but yeah. So they after that they dusted me. They're like, you're out. I'm like, yo, what's going on? Like, hold on, we have this agreement in writing. What's going on here?
Yeah.
And my manager's like, yeah, that's the breaks. I was like, dude, you manage like a quarter of the UFC. You can, what are you doing? So yeah. But
because his was something from way in the past that happened, wasn't it? And it got brought up into the newspapers, and then they kicked him out just before a fight, like, you know. So they're rough, aren't they? They don't take any prisoners, do they? They just. Who do you train with in? Who do you train jiu-jitsu with in Bangkok?
Well, in Bangkok, I kind of train around. You know, I go to Bangkok Fight Lab. I want to go to Arete, but I haven't made it up there yet. I want to go.
I've never been there. So
they've got a lot of high level guys there, and like a couple other brown belts that I've rolled against and like trained with before go there. So I'd like to go pay them a visit. Outside of that, I was going to this one place, but the owner of it I had I would not consider him a very good fellow. So
Okay.
I just don't go there anymore.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, like for instance, check this out. Bangkok or lockdown happened, first COVID lockdown. And so this individual decides to do online classes, Zoom classes. And
Hmm.
he goes, okay, students, these are Zoom classes, so your memberships still continue. Every other gym was like, no, your memberships are on hold. Don't worry about it. This place was not. He did not
Uh-huh.
do that. So I was like, and so and this isn't from me, right? This is a student. So this student goes, hey, well, can I get a refund? And he's like, no, because classes are on Zoom. And he's like, I don't want class on Zoom. I want class with you. Can I get
Yeah.
can I get a refund? And I'll just come back when lockdowns has ended. Or can you put me on hold, my membership on hold, and I'll come when lockdowns ended.
Hmm.
And so then he just threw the guy his money back and was like, get out. So like that,
Okay.
yeah, that's this individual. And then
Hmm.
this individual and I had some words with each other, and yeah, so I just, yeah, but yeah. So I would, and then there's Bigfoot BJJ Lee
Yeah.
Livingston. I haven't seen him in a while. I know he's still operating,
I was
but
just messaging him just before I was chatting to you. Actually, when you came online, I was just replying to him on Facebook. Actually, so
yeah,
yeah.
whenever I see him, he's always a good dude. Like I
Mm.
like Lee quite a bit. So yeah, I should probably go over there and check him out. Also like Raw BJJ,
Hmm.
Raw Crew BJJ, and like they're doing big things when it comes to like Thailand jiu-jitsu.
Okay.
So like that's actually going to be a big focus on or something I'm going to focus on competing in and doing this year, because
Hmm.
that's like a thing for my kids to where they have full contact jujitsu. So it's basically MMA with a gi on.
Okay.
Yeah. And so I'm excited about that because now I get to train these kids in MMA and be like,
Hmm.
all right, boys, I'll throw a gi on them a little bit and be like, all right, let's go. And my goal is to like turn my little wild card warriors, which is what I call them, but I want to turn them into national champs. So
Is it
that's
closer
the
to
goal.
Sambo or
No, well,
no?
I mean, no, because I don't think they allow leg locks
Okay.
because they're in gi, so they don't
Hmm.
allow leg locks. But like, yeah, I guess like they can throw each other, they can do everything. So essentially, it's the same as combat sambo, but like
Hmm.
sambo, like they don't
Yeah.
wear gi pants, they just wear the gi top.
Hmm.
But then, yeah, so there's definitely it's similar,
Got it.
definitely, yeah. So yeah,
So,
I'm excited.
excuse me. You said you had a guy coming through who's got a fight soon. Who's this?
Yeah, Toby. Oh,
Uh huh.
he's my boy. So yeah, Toby McNerlin
Uh huh.
is his name. He's this little Irish kid that
Yep.
he came to the digital detox retreat, right? Our pilot episode. He came to it,
Hmm.
and he's a 15-year-old boy, and ever since he came, he's been training with me. So I literally like for a while, for like almost 3 months, I just did private lessons with him.
Got you.
Then I opened it up, and we got a little team going. Now we got like 5 kids in there, and yeah, he's getting ready to make his debut, and he's making his debut against a 17-year-old who is
Well,
from Yorkie. And you remember Nick Lee,
Nick Lee.
Singaporean
No.
dude.
No.
He fought in ONE FC for a little bit, and then
Okay.
like he fought under me when I ran Bangkok Fight Lab, when I ran
Hmm.
their MMA. But yeah, so he he's actually got his own team now, and that's Yorkie MMA. and we're still buddies. Like we
Uh-huh.
meet on a regular basis. We go out together and get into shenanigans and just have, yeah, and have our fun. So I'm training this kid Toby, and I'm like, yo, do you have a kid? And he's like, yeah, there's a kid training with me. I was like, well, let's have them fight each other. Like, let's grow this. Let's do this teen MMA thing and grow it. And I've been telling other gyms. I've been like, what was it? I want to say Phuket Top Team. That's where Panda's out of, right?
Yeah.
Phuket Top Team. Yeah.
Yep.
So Boyd, if I remember his name correctly. I'm really bad at names, but I'm pretty positive it's Boyd.
I remember
Who runs Phuket Top Team.
Yeah, that name sort of rings a bell. Not that I'm that au fait with it, but yeah, that I'm sure I heard Panda talking about him.
Yeah, I'm trying. Yeah, Boyd Clark. Yeah, Boyd.
Uh-huh.
So like I talked to him about like trying to get a teen program. I'm like, dude, you're in Phuket. Like you got plenty of international school kids. Pull them in, try. And that's what I'm working on building here. And Nick is also like, okay, he's got a couple kids. He's trying to train up. So like, hopefully we can get a teen MMA thing going on to where it'd be kind of cool to have these kids be able to experience fighting, because like, especially now what you see, I want to say maybe in the past 5 to 7 years, you'd hear Joe Rogan comment, talking about like, oh, these guys have now grown up with MMA and this is the evolution of a sport.
Yeah.
Now you don't just learn wrestling and then just learn jiu-jitsu and just learn boxing and just learn Muay Thai and bring it together. Now you just learn MMA. And like, so I'm like, well, shoot, I will just teach MMA. And that's essentially what we've been doing. And so like, it's almost evolving as its new and own martial art, where it used to be mixed martial arts and you pull things from everything. Now you have these experienced old guys who are like, all right, I mixed it all. Let me show it to you now.
Yeah, because that's always the thing, isn't it? The transitions between, of how you get from striking to wrestling, from wrestling to jiu-jitsu, and from the cage to the floor, and then those transitions were where people started to make the difference, wasn't it, between the good fighters and the great fighters, really, of going from that. Like Georgie St. Pierre was really good at those transitions, wasn't he, and doing all that. And I think it was the first one was Rory McDonald was one of the first people they spoke about, wasn't it, for training just MMA, because that's what he grew up with, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So are you going to try and set up any sort of school thing where it goes into schools or not? Have you got a bigger picture for this, or so then you can get more of a national thing going?
Yeah. I mean, as far as like the international school scene though, like I'm gonna work with a friend of mine. His name's Paul Windsor, and he was also a fighter of mine. He's also like my boxing coach here, and he runs the Box Thailand, and great gym, great Western boxing, great group of guys who train there. He's got good coaches with him, so like I really enjoy going there, and like he and I are gonna work together, because he's already in international schools teaching like boxing to the kids.
Got you.
And so we've actually got to have a meeting here shortly to talk about like kind of the next steps as far as me I'll probably bring jiu-jitsu to the international schools as opposed to MMA.
It's a lot more palatable, isn't it? There's no punching in the face. It's sort of, it's a traditional martial art, so it feels a bit better, doesn't it? So
yeah, and from there, like I think at least probably the first 5 years, maybe even 10 years of trying to like push things, it'll have to be independent gyms doing it, building kids. But if Nick and I effectively create, you know, a little fight atmosphere to where teenagers can train and then fight. Like, dude, that's right now for this coming fight. It's all there. It's called Potion Fight Night, and you can go to their Facebook page and actually see the live stream. So they're doing it's a free live stream, so you can see
Uh-huh.
this. It'll be the first ever teen MMA fight in Thailand,
Okay, cool.
and
What's
that's
the date for that again?
this Saturday.
This
So
Saturday. Okay.
the 6th, yeah.
All right.
February
I need to get this put together, and I'll put the link in this then. So I'll pull my finger out with editing this, or not editing, just putting it all together like so.
Yeah, this is it'll start at 1 p.m. Is at least the airtime that they've got set 1 p.m. Thai time.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, if my thoughts are, if we can grow this and get this going, I think it'll catch on, because it'll give kids a place to get their energy out. And especially, like, you know what I feel bad about, right? I'm a kid from the suburbs, really.
Mm-hmm.
And so and when I say suburbs, like, my dad, he always made sure, like, we lived around the woods. So, like, go outside, don't come home till it's dark, you know. Like,
Yep.
that's my childhood, going and running around in the woods. But, like, these kids don't get that here.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like, they're a different kind of child from what I remember myself being.
Got you.
And the thirst is definitely there. Like, I can see it in my boys, and they talk about it. And I think that it can be and will be a very good experience for them to be able, because this is something odd that I preach, and sorry that I'm kind of sidetracking, but, like, I got this patch in one of my gis, and it's from this dude on Instagram. I saw it one day, and he's ex-SF, so ex Special Forces, and he put out these patches. And if I remember correctly, he was a medic, but, like, it's this patch, and it says, "Do no harm, do no harm." So do no harm, but do no harm.
Mm-hmm.
You know, don't hurt people, but understand how to hurt people.
Yeah.
And I find that to be very important, because like, especially, and you know this, like, when you talk to people who've never been hit before, like, or the first time somebody walks into a gym to take a class, and you're like, okay, throw a punch right here, and they're like, what? But I'll hit you. And it's like, yeah, that's the point of all of this.
I remember I had a friend come round to my house, like, and he'd never done anything, but he wanted to get fit. He was really overweight, so we do some. I mean, super light sparring. You know, not that I'm that good, but and so I do a round. I just touch him, and then I do another round where it'd be like, okay, I'll practice my defense, and you've got to punch me, and he wouldn't punch me. And I'd be like, hit me. You know what I mean? You don't have to hit me hard. And it'd be like, I think it was also that I don't want to get hit back just in case I hit you back later. But, you know, it's like, it's good for me to practice blocking, and, you know, and gives you a bit of exercise. Like, yeah. So a lot of people, I see people at this gym, and it's just open now. And I don't know about you. When you see people doing things and it's really bad, it's like, do you want to go over and tell them? It's none of my business. It's not my gym. Like, and I'm like, I train on my own a lot now, because I don't want to train with other people that don't know what to do, because I sort of stop and then start teaching, and it takes it away from, you know, and I don't want to look like, oh, look, I know what I'm doing, you don't know what you're doing, sort of thing, like, as if I think I'm much better than them. I can't help it. And I don't know if you're the same, like.
Yeah, I now I've got to the point where, after teaching thousands of people, it's like, yeah, if I'm in a class to learn, I'm in a class to learn. And, like, even then, when I go to classes, it's like, I go to Fight Labs classes from time to time. I enjoy them. So, like, I'll go in there, but I always partner up with somebody that knows what they're doing. I really don't like partnering with anybody under a purple belt, to be honest with you, if I'm going to go do jujitsu, because like they've got to be a good blue belt. Like they need to have like 4 stripes on that thing, and I need to know who they are. You know what I mean? Like it's just like
because of the danger or because of the easiness of it, or both.
Danger more than anything. Like because there's a time and I went to roll, right? So we're not, training's one thing, and it mostly because training, like, because I want to train too, and I don't want to have to critique somebody, and I don't want to have to be like, I don't want them to be moving the wrong way or not moving at all or just being a bad partner because they don't know what to do. So I'm not, that's a personal thing on me. Now, if somebody asks me to, I will happily train with a white belt and be like, yeah, here's some tips and tricks and here you go. And what you do with it is yours. But when it comes to rolling, I hate rolling with white belts, not because, and most blue belts, not because it's like, it's easy. Cause like for instance, I go to my gym up at Thomasat, right? And there'll be rounds that I do with the guys that I don't use my hands. And I just say, okay, pass my guard. And I just don't use my hand. And but they're not like jumping on me like wild, crazy people. They're like being reserved and actually trying to work technique. I roll with them all day, every day, and I love it. It's fun. But these are also my guys that I trust and I've trained with, and they trust me. They know me. Like everybody knows each other. We're good. But like, there's been times where I've been rolling with people at open mats, and like a white belt will be like, hey, can I roll with you? And they're a big dude, and I'm like, yeah, sure, because I'll be nice, and especially if they're talking to me and chatting with me, I'm like, yeah, okay, we can roll. Like, don't. And I always say this to people, don't kill me. And they laugh, and it's like, that's kind of a joke because you're not going to, but it's also like, don't fucking hurt me, asshole. Like, because like you get these white belts and they get frustrated, and blue belts even more so than white belts, because then they know some stuff, but they get really frustrated. They start spazzing out on you. And like, I had this guy, he had to be like 90 kilos, and 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 I'm being nice to him. I got him in a triangle and I'm being nice to him, and he stands up and tries to lift me, so I hook his leg and he can't lift me. But then he proceeds to like drive and like slam his body on top of me, and it like, so my spine's here and it just goes and it didn't hurt me, but it was one of those things, like as soon as he did that, I ripped my, I cranked that triangle. I was like, now you're done. Like, and he's tapping, and I was like, I'm
holding this
sitting
for
there
a sec.
looking at him. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. Like,
I ain't that. I'm a white belt, but I understand. Like,
because so I loosened it, and I'm sitting there looking at him, and I'm like, I just let you live. Do not ever do that to me again, or you will not be alive anymore. Because it's just like, ugh. Like, don't hurt me. Don't injure your playthings. Like, I'm the toy. Don't break the toy.
so I can't understand that someone would try and pick you up to slam you. If it's a triangle and it's on, you just tap and start again. You know what I mean? And take that as a lesson for me. That's if because you're just rolling, aren't you? You're not fighting.
Well, I typically, like, to be honest with you, I very rarely submit people. Very rarely do I finish submissions, because I want to give people, one, I want to see what I'm doing wrong in my submission and how they can escape, because I want to see what they do. And two, there's no reason for me to finish a submission and then, okay, we stop, and then you never figured out how to escape it yourself, right? So like, so I usually don't finish submissions. I'll go from one, like I'll hit a triangle, and then and they'll be looking at me trying to tap in it, and they'll even do that. I'm like, nah, I haven't choked you. Come on, you can escape this. And so then they'll start doing things. I might transition to an arm bar, or maybe I go to a Kimura or something like that. And I just kind of move back and forth because that helps me learn as well, especially
Mhm.
like if I am rolling with a blue belt, that like somebody that I trust and know, and they're just not there on that timing yet, or a purple belt or a brown belt or a black belt, like depending on who I'm rolling with, you know. And even with black belts, like I'm not trying to crank their stuff. With other
Mhm.
brown belts, I'm not trying to crank stuff. I don't want to break them. They're my partners, they're my toys. Like you don't
Yeah.
break your toys. If you do, then you don't have any more toys to play with,
Yeah,
you know.
a
So
there was a coach. He coached in Bangkok, and he used to coach in Pattaya where I was at, from Japan, um, and he was terrible, man. I'm a white belt, and he didn't know how much I'd done. He smashed an arm bar on me, and I mean smashed it on. Look, I'm quite big
mm,
and strong. If it had been someone like half my size, he'd have broke that arm the way he smashed it on. Like I'm like, ugh,
yeah.
tap. You know, and I could resist it enough so it didn't hurt me. But you know, it's like, and he was like that with everyone. It was a fight, and he was my teacher. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, come
Yeah,
on. I
yeah, I'm
remember
not
another
okay with
guy
that stuff.
I used to roll with. He started teaching me, like, and he was a blue belt, but he just didn't have any clue of his body. So he'd be kneeing you in the head, kneeing you in the nuts, and it's like, are you doing this on purpose? Or, you know, I'm going to hurt you in a minute because I think you start to think you're doing it on purpose. No one's that dumb. I know. That's, you know, I've just started doing a couple of jiu-jitsu classes lately, and my gas tank's nowhere near. Like I'm like tap into out of breath at the moment. It's no good. I need to get my fitness back together.
Dude, that grappling fitness is killer, isn't it?
Mm, yeah,
Oh,
yeah. I
like
can kick all day.
boxing is one thing, and
Yeah.
like moving, but just grabbing another man that wants to not have you grab him anymore, and
Mm.
like, oh, that is hard. That's hard work.
You engaging up every muscle, aren't you? Pretty much. When you're doing it, your core's locked, your body's locked, your legs are tense, everything's engaged, isn't it? Like when I'm kicking, I've kicked that many times now. It's just
Yeah, you just
I could do, yeah, I could do that no problem. But no, grappling, couple of minutes and I'm I'm done, mate. I feel all of 51 when I'm doing that. Like, you know what I mean? I feel the age then. It's no good at all. Um, what else did I want to talk to you about? Something before we finish. Um, that was it. What's your favorite food in Thailand? I like asking people about food. I'm a foodie. That's why I need to go to the gym because I'm a fat fucker, really.
I understand. I'm actually like, I looked at the time, my belly's rumbling.
Yeah,
Like,
we've
I'm
been
like,
going on a bit,
oh,
so I don't want to keep you
yeah,
too much, man. I
that's
appreciate
all
it.
good. Pad Kimao guy.
Pad Kimo guy. What's that?
Yeah. Pad
Pad
Kimao is like
Ki-
okay, so it translates into Pad Kimao. So Kimao is drunk shit.
uh-huh.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like stir fried drunk shit. And
Uh-huh.
basically it's just like a whole bunch of like they put peppercorns in there, they put some peppers, um a bunch of like vegetables, guys, chickens, so they throw
Mm.
that in there. And then I always get senyai because I like the wide flat noodles, like
Uh-huh.
the noodles you get with what the hell, everybody likes it, pad see those
Uh-huh.
noodles, those same noodles, but instead
Yeah.
they throw them in pad kimao. So that's how I always get it. And yeah, that's my favorite dish.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. And you,
Mine's
how about you?
mine's it's on those silly names when you translate it now. Probably the one I miss at the moment, if I could have it, would be Pat Pongari Bunim, which is
Yeah.
I love that. Which is quite ironic because Pat Pong is a red light district in Thailand. Gary is prostitute. Bunim just soft shell crab, isn't it? But you know what I mean?
Yep.
So
Yep.
yeah, it's they do have some great names over there for things, don't
Oh
they?
yeah.
So wrap it up, Tommy. Thanks very much for your time, man. I really appreciate it.
When are you gonna make it back?
June probably. So I'll pop up and see you at your gym then, if that's okay, mate. It'll be
Yeah, of
nice to
course.
catch up with loads of people.
Yeah, and that's the plan, is have a spot open by June. If it's not, then I'm gonna be here living wonderful life at my condo,
Uh-huh.
doing my stuff here. Zero overhead. That's what I love about this right now. The whole thought process behind it is like, because if I own a space, I know there's a
Yep.
couple different things I have to do there in order to make it run, and there's a couple
Hmm.
programs that I'll set up specifically to make it run. But just having me at my condo doing my thing, that's like, I get to do what I love with who I love, and that's it. And it's very nice. So like, yeah. And then on top of that, hopefully by this time next year, I'm ready to fight again, because that's the other thing I'm gonna do.
You want to get back in, yeah?
There's something down in there that
Uh-huh.
there's a hunger. Yeah.
I understand that, like on a massively lesser level. Like as I said, I had two amateur fights, and there's a little noise somewhere here that's like, yeah, you could get fit enough again, Ross. It's like, no, I couldn't.
Yeah. Well,
My body's
I
wrecked, man.
dude, I thought the same thing. I honestly thought the same thing. And then COVID lockdown happened, and by some miracle of God, like,
Hmm.
or whoever's up there, somebody was watching out for me, because
Yeah.
I would go up to the rooftop of my old condo, and like, I like to be up there and I could see the city, and like,
Uh-huh.
I would just go up there at night and just hang out, and like, I would get ready for my old fights. I would go up there and shadow box. Well,
Yeah.
one day, just after lockdown, all of a sudden, like, this pull-up bar, basically square meter of like this frame showed
Yeah.
up there, and it had pull-up bars and all sorts of stuff on it. And like,
Nice.
that's what I like. Like, I don't lift weights so much anymore because all my joint problems
Hmm.
from all the fighting and doing stupid crap. Like, so I don't really lift. So all I do is body weight. Well, like, I got in better shape than I have been in a long time. Like, I was back to doing like one arm pull-ups and stuff. Like,
Uh-huh.
I was like ready to go strong. Like, everybody, joked about lockdown, like, oh, it's like being in jail. I was like, if it's like being in jail, I'm getting ready for a riot. Like, that was my thought process. Like, go, because can't do anything. So when I'm bored, I like to exercise. Like, that's what
Yeah.
I do. So I would go up there and murder myself. I got in insanely good shape. And then that I was like, I can fight again. I can fight again. Because I never
Hmm.
thought I could, like, working the job and stuff like that. Like,
Yeah.
being a teacher, training people and getting ready for fights and doing my masters, that shit was really rough. I was doing
Hmm.
all that crap at the same time. Rough. And all of a sudden lockdown happened. I had all the time. And I was doing it, like, I was learning the markets and things like that, and then doing some other side projects, and like, I had this time, and I was like, shit. And I was just going to murder myself every day. In the middle, I would go up at like 2, 3 o'clock in the afternoon.
What?
Yeah, yeah, yes.
Fuck that, man.
I
That's way too hot. I
No,
didn't
it
do
was
anything at those
perfect.
times.
Well,
That time's for coffee and eating.
that was my thought process. It's like, people don't do things during this time, so I'm going to do it, because like the lockdown, like, I could sit and I could watch all the Netflix or all the YouTube or all the
Hmm.
whatever I want, and I could stay in aircon and be happy and relaxed all day. Or I could take 45 minutes to an hour and 15 minutes and just make my life shit for that
Hmm.
time. And while I was doing it, that was like my meditation. Like, when I want to like meditate, I put on music and I just smack a heavy bag for a while
Hmm.
and I just do my own thing. I didn't have a heavy bag. I had a pull-up bar. So I
Pull-ups.
just went nuts. Yeah, pull-ups, push-ups, and squats. And I just went insane with everything. And like, it became my meditation. There were times where like I was trying to walk down the stairs and like I felt like I was gonna pass out. So I'm like hanging onto this rail, like coming down, like, oh shit, I hope I don't die. And like, but I felt so good again. And I just felt like ready to I could rip through anything. And having that feeling back with that, that was a spark that I was like, oh shit. Then that dickhead in a meeting talking down to me, I was like, all right, fuck it. I'm done. I'm out. This is what I'm doing again. And I was talking to my girl and and she, because I told her like, this is my 2-year plan. Originally it started as a 2-year plan to where this is what I'm going to do, the wild card thing, all that. And I'm talking to my girl and I'm like, I got to get out now. I got to go. Like, this needs to happen as soon as possible. So yeah, I'm ready. Like, dude, I am so ready. And now with the other projects I've been working on and learning like Facebook marketing, Instagram marketing, how the Facebook business model works, and then like what WordPress, as well as, dude, I'm doing coding to build apps for phones and stuff. Like, I'm just learning a bunch of different traits. So like, I'm just learning things. I like to learn like that, so I'm like, I can build a nice little personal economy through teaching people what I know, what I'm an expert at, and then learning to do things online and work online. And I can have my time. I can train again, and I can murder again. And that's what I want to do. Like, dude, I am so motivated. And I'm like, shoot, it's MMA. And what I know now, if I could have what I know now and go back to when I was in the UFC, Dennis Bermudez would have been done. Fabricio Camoes, nah. Like, what I am now when it comes to technique is light years past what I was when I was in the UFC. So like, yeah, it's in there. It's in there. And then I'm going to feed it. I'm going to feed it and I'm going to grow again. And I'm so excited for the future right now. I'm so
wicked, man. I can't wait to see it. Do you think it'll be in Thailand you fight, or do you think you'll go abroad?
Yeah, when Full Metal comes back, I'll fight. Because I know it's an option and it's an opportunity for me to fight local, grow my name local again. But yeah, I'm looking more towards Middle East and Japan.
Okay.
Maybe I'll do some in China again, but we'll see how the next couple of years work out with America and China. How that
market goes, really.
Well, it's less about the market and more about me being American and not wanting to go to China right now because I'm an American and I'm not I'm afraid
no one
I
can
go
go
there
to China at the
like,
moment.
Yeah, but I'm afraid I go there and get locked up, like because so Japan and the Middle East for the most part. So like that's kind of where I'm thinking. Plus, I have a couple connections in the Middle East, and I used to know a couple people in Japan. So we'll see what I can do. But yeah, those are the main. Like, I'm thinking like Deep, Brave, Ryzen, Shudo, Pancrase, like those 5 organizations are kind of what I'm thinking.
Brilliant. Wicked, man. I look forward to seeing it.
Well, we'll see what I can do. I'm excited.
Thanks very much for your time, dude. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, Russ, thanks for having me, man. It was great talking to you.
Yeah, you too, man.